mode.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Pablo Villaresa from Quiterian. Welcome and thank you for attending this Quite For Me webinar. Today's webinar is about customer segmentation, profiling, and prediction based on RFM analysis. During the following minutes, I'll show you how you can easily use RFM segmentation to identify and profile your best customers and to predict who can potentially become good customers among those non-active ones. Customers who spend more money more frequently and in less time are more propensive to buy again. This is based on the well-known RFM analysis. RFM stands for recency, when the customer placed the last order; frequency, how many orders the customer placed in that period of time; and monetary, how much money the customer spent. It relies on the premise that someone who recently bought something, who shopped often, and who spent a lot is more likely to respond to your next campaign or offer, rather than someone who bought something a long time ago, shopped infrequently, and spent next to nothing. RFM analysis can be applicable to email, CRM, or web analytics metrics. How are we going to proceed in this webinar? Well, during this webinar, we will show you how to define these three variables and how to consolidate them, setting a global RFM classification for all our customers. We will do this with our engineering model. As well, we'll profile our best RFM customers, trying to get knowledge out of them. And finally, we'll go one step forward, trying to predict future behavior among non-active customers. So let's get into business with Quite For Me. I'm just logging into the platform. Right. We have here in Quite For Me, I have loaded different databases. We are going to use the retail database. This database is going to contain 1 million customers, 5 million baskets, and 24 items, more than 24 million items. So the first thing I would like to show to you is, if we go back to the presentation, defining these RFM variables. I'm going to show you how to do one of them, for example, and then I'll show you the other ones that I have already created on the fly. For that purpose, I'm going to use the enrichment model. This is going to enhance our analytical model, allowing power users to work on the fly autonomously. So let's get for example, the frequency. We are going to define the frequency as the distinct number of times per month that each customer buys on a specific set period of time. Let's say 6 months study. So we're going to do, for that purpose, we have the baskets, and here is containing the different dates of each purchase, and we have the customers. So I'm going to count how many different times each customer buys per month. For that purpose, I'm going to do an aggregation and say, let's call this variable frequency per month, where I'm going to count distinct times this customer per each month comes to my shop. But I don't want all of them. I'm going to apply a condition that the number of months has to be on the last 6 months. So if I order, you can see here that the 6-month period is this one. So I'm going to change this and say I want greater or equal to 2011-08. That's August. So if I create this variable, I'm counting how many distinct months these customers comes in the last 6 months. I will have, as you can see, I have customers who have never come in the last 6 months, 262,000 of them. I have 295,000 of them who came only once in the last 6 months. And I have 3,247 customers who has at least come once every month. Quite interesting. Right. Let me show you how I created other variables, the monetary value. So if I edit, you can see that I have summed all the profit I'm getting from the transaction level, and I'm counting only those transactions, those baskets of the last 6 months. As well, I have to calculate the recency. In this case, this is quite interesting one, because I realized that I just wanted to find out how many days have elapsed between the last order of each customer to the latest one. For that, I used an expression, one of our other engineering tools, using one of these functionalities, the days to functionality. It's telling me how many days between two date fields, the last order of each customer or the maximum of any of them. So if I explore this variable, you can see, once created, on the frequency distribution, that many of our customers who purchased on the last 6 months have a recency less than 60 days. Right. And now, if I go back to the presentation, once I have defined these three variables, I would like to set a global RFM classification. How do I do that? Well, I'm going to try to qualify each customer based on the frequency, monetary, and recency in 4 groups. Just to simplify this example. In this case, for the frequency, I created a decode using another of our engineering tools, saying if it's going to be 1, 2, 3, or more than 4 times. Consider more than 4 times good customers in the last 6 months. Right. I did the same with a quartile on the monetary value. That's creating 4 bands where each band contains the same number of customers. And I did the same thing with the recency. If I edit this one, you'll see that it's another quartile. Right. So now that I have these customers graded on these 3 attributes, what I'm going to do is consolidate them all together on this RFM analysis variable. This RFM at the end is the combination of each of them, summing the first value of them. So basically, if I double click on each, I can see that I have customers who has an RFM value of 0 and customers of 12. Let me just explore it, drag it and drop it on the Explorer, and we'll see it in a much better way. These are the values and the frequency distribution, and this is the chart. Right. We have many customers with no activity, and then we have 2, 3, 1, 4, and so on. You can see here. What I can do now is I'm going to qualify these customers based on these values. So I'm going to decode them. Saying, considering that if their value of RFM consolidation is between 2 and 5, they are going to be low, between 6 and 9 mid, and 10 or over high RFM customers. And 0, no RFM. So right now, if I go back to the Explorer and visualize this one, I have this frequency distribution, as well as I have this visualization with other, I can use any of other visualization tools. Right. Now, I'm going to get these no RFM customers, because these are non-active customers. I will use this segment for later purposes. But let's leave them here in this temporary area. As well, I'm going to get the higher RFM customers, because these are my best RFM customers. And if I go back to the presentation, we're going to try to respond to the next question. What is the profile of our best RFM customers? So far we have found who are these customers. We could even explore them, just dragging and dropping, hi RFM, and this would be the people. Okay, you can see that they have this type of values on the frequency, recency, and monetary value, and these are all the data that we can see from them. These 152,000 customers. But for profiling, I'm going to use the analytics model, and specifically the profile. So if I drag and drop these customers, I'm going to use certain attributes from my database, such as the age band, the gender, let's say the life stage, the wealthy, the wealth variable, as well as from other tables. For example, in what channels do my customers purchase, the best customers, or what category products do they purchase? So the profile is quite interesting because it gives you a lot of insight of data in a very fast way. What I can understand from this profile is that my best RFM customers purchase on outlets. They are male people. They tend to buy these three products: garden, decoration, or security. Their life stage is young family or middle age, and their wealth is basically very wealthy or comfortable or wealthy. I could see this individually by variable. I could identify also which are the attributes that best qualify my highest rated RFM customers. So I would, for example, I would not consider product category in this analysis. So now that we know the profile of our customers, let's repeat who they are. They buy on shops, outlets. They never purchase. If you go back, this is what they don't look like. So they never purchase on mails or internet. They are male people, and they have this type of life stage or wealth. Right. So we've been able, so far, to respond to what is the profile of our best RFM customers. Finally, for this webinar, I would like to try to respond to what would be a predictive RFM classification among non-active customers. Okay, we have identified here non-active customers. So I would like to try to infer our RFM classification as well as the same thing as I did before with the whole customer table. For that purpose, I'm going to use my advanced tool, and I'm going to use the decision tree. Well, decision tree, you first learn from a sample data, and it will apply from some knowledge based on that sample data. And normally that sample data has to be homogeneous, all the same values, records. So first, I'm going to grab a sample data that is going to have the same number of records for the possible classificators I'm going to choose. How do I do that? With the selection module. If I open a selection, for example, I could call this sample data for decision tree algorithm, and I would be able to drag and drop from the RFM decode. You can see the values, so I'm going to grab 150,000 customers per each of the possible classificators I'm going to choose. For example, let me show you how you do one, and then I'll show you how I finally got all of them. I could use, for example, this would be if I want to grab 150K, high, sorry for that, RFM, I will grab 150,000. I will be able to grab them from the top, from the bottom, from the middle, 1 out of n, or randomly if I wanted to. So if I calculate, I will have here 150,000. And I will do the same things, adding another parenthesis, another condition into this selection. I already have that created in my webinar folder. So we go faster. So these are the conditions for each of them with an OR condition. So now I will have 150,000 per each of the 4 possible values. So that's 600,000. So now that I have the sample test data I want to evaluate my decision tree, I'll just have to drag it and drop it in the domain box. And I'm going to choose for this decision tree the attributes that the profile was telling me were important. For example, the age band, for example, the gender, and the wealth. And based on these 3 variables, I'm going to create classificators. And this decision tree will tell me which of these classificators best relates to this combination. So let's say high RFM customers. I'm going to color this in green. I'm going to say these people need RFM. That would be second segment, this one. Low RFM. And finally, no RFM. Once I have created the classificators, I could train the decision tree algorithm, and in a few seconds, it will evaluate all possible combinations between the 3 attributes, age, gender, and wealth, and it will tell me which of these classificator best relates to that combination. So if I open the chart, we'll have it here. You can see all the possible combinations. Sometimes it's better if, let me just remove this so it will have more space to see. So for example, if they're female, basically they are not very good customers. So they are going to be qualified as no RFM or low RFM. Whereas male, I don't know if you remember, but males were our best customers. And depending on the wealth, you will have a possible classificator telling you what is the slice of this combination and the error you are assuming. You could even test this segment, evaluating how good or how bad this model is. We have 3 steps. We can assume, let's assume this is a quite good model. It's not, because most of the people who are we are considering on this high RFM are well correlated. So what we are going to do is save this algorithm. I'll save it under my folders. I will have other users. I can give them access to, okay? In this case, I don't want them to have access. I could have them. And once I save them, I save this algorithm, it would be applicable to the domain I want to infer knowledge. That is the non-active customers. And I would target this. This would be RFM future classification. If I accept, it will take like 2 minutes. It's going to give me the same classification as I have here. So let me just, instead of accepting it, let me just drag and drop for these non-active customers what classification this algorithm is telling me. As you can see, for these 262,000 customers, we have some of them that could probably behave as high RFM customers, 32.5% of them. So we could grab them and either do some actions. For example, we could either export this into a file or either create some campaign actions to activate them or at least do some campaigns with these people. So Let's try to resume what we have done. We've been able to enrich the model, creating on the fly these three variables: recency, frequency, and monetary value. Once created, we've been able to classify all our customers based on these criteria. And we've been able to identify the patterns or those attributes that best relate to our high-rated RFM customers. And finally, we've been able to make predictions in order to anticipate future behavior among non-active customers. So, just as a conclusion, I would say that Quiterian can help you to get higher value in shorter time, to do analysis on the fly with no bottlenecks or IT dependency. We can work efficiently with high data, high volumes of data. In other words, it's a significant productivity improvement. Now, I would like, if any of you have any questions about this webinar or about Quiterian platform, I'll be more than happy to help you responding to those questions. Thanks for attending. You can raise your hand if you have questions, and our organizer, Noelia, will give you access so you can query us. Any questions? In any case, if there's no question, we are going to do more webinars during this month, and we'll be happy if you can attend them. Noel is telling me that there's somebody asking something, so let's just wait a few seconds.
Yes, hello everybody, it's Noelia speaking. Pablo, Jesus Calafat says that I was wondering if Quiterian is a standalone app or is it offered as software as a service in the cloud?
Okay, that's a good question. There's the two possibilities. You can either purchase a perpetual license on-premise. It's not a standalone. I would say it's a server installation, but you don't have to install anything on the client. It's a thin client, and you can use any browser. Or you could use a private or public cloud as well on a SaaS environment, software as a service.
Okay.
So both possibilities.
Okay. Uday Shankar says that I want to know how much time it will take for end users to learn this tool and start using, and what profile of users is more useful.
Thanks for the question. This tool is not so difficult to use. Normally we train the end users in 2 days, and they are able to use Quiterian, the tool. Basically, this tool is aimed for analysts, business users who really knows their business, but they don't have so much technical skills to being able to do some queries, select statements, and things like that. So I would say this is aimed for business analysts on any company.
Okay, Alexandra says that, can I work with many different sources of data?
That is a great question. That is one of the things, the best things you can do with Quiterian or Quiterian. Normally we have customers that have different sources, isolated data. So this is a platform that contains its own ETL, its advanced analytics, as you saw, data mining tools, exploration, visualization tools. So you can bring all those different sources together in the same repository, analytical repository, and analyze together those isolated data. So yeah, the answer would be yes, and that is one of the things our customers do with Quiterian.
Okay, I think
For instance, you could have, let me give you an example. You could have data from transactional data, operational data. You could have social media data. You could have data from CRM analysis, Salesforce, for example, or social demographics, and all together combined on an analytical repository. That's what we offer in Quiterian.
Okay, I think that's not. Yes, sorry. Do you have native connector for Twitter or other social media?
Yeah, we have connectors for Twitter, Facebook, Cheetah Mail. We are doing also for Salesforce. I think it's already done. And I think, Noelia, maybe you can help me more here, but those are the connectors so far we have. And
Yes.
if we don't have the connector, we offer also the possibility from our developers to create those connectors.
Yes, you are right. Nowadays we are preparing the Google Analytics connector, Google AdWords connector that we hope that we will finish it in a couple of weeks, more or less. But everybody who needs his own connector, we are developing for our clients with no cost. Do you have partners in the US that can help us with the implementation?
Yeah, we have 10 different partners so far and growing in the US, and those partners are located in different areas, so depending on the area, we aim to one partner or the other. We have partners in the East, South, Central, and West USA.
Okay, by the moment there is no more questions. Yes, another one. One more question. Do you have pre-built analytical models similar to RFM? If yes, can I get that to go through the possible analytical solutions these tools comes with?
Yeah, we have business cases, and on those business cases they explain also the analytical model that relates to that information. So yeah, the answer would be yes, we have those type of information that we could provide.
Okay, so there are no more questions. Yes, the last one, I think. Is it available to general users or only for your customers?
Well, what we are doing is we allow a free trial for 30 days, so you could try with your own data or with this generic data in the platform, Quiterian. You just have to log into Quiterian or quiterian.com, and you'll be just registering your name, surname, company, things like that. You have access for 30 days to play with the tool by yourself. So, I mean, it's not only for our customers, but also for future customers who are interested in using Quiterian.
Okay, So great, thanks a lot, Uday. Thanks to you. Have a good time. Okay, if there is no more questions, we can close this webinar.
Thank you all of you for attending this webinar, and I hope to see you in 2 weeks' time that we are going to run another webinar. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.